America's Water Infrastructure Act of 2018. This important bill authorizes water infrastructure projects that benefit almost every state in the country. I want to thank every member of Congress who helped pass this crucial legislation. I especially want to thank Senators John Boozman, John Barrasso, Ben Cardin, Tom Harper. See, we have bipartisan on this one, folks. Don't be shocked. We'll probably have a lot more over the years. And Representatives Jeff Denham, Garrett Graves, Greg Harper, and Greg Walden. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you,
fellas. Appreciate it. Thanks also to Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works, R.D. James, for joining us, and to the Commanding General of the Army Corps of Engineers, Todd Semonite. Thank you very much, fellas. Appreciate it. Good job. As a candidate, I called for a great rebuilding of America's crumbling infrastructure. Today, we're taking another major step toward that goal. Very important. This bill authorizes needed funding and tools to enhance our coastal ports, reduce flood risks, restore ecosystems, upkeep our inland waterways, which are in deep, deep trouble, but they won't be for very long, upgrade our dams, hydropower, and irrigation systems, and improve drinking water treatment, storage, and delivery. With this legislation, we will also better protect American communities from hurricanes and storms. And I'm particularly proud that this legislation extends a requirement that protects and projects supported by the drinking water, state revolving fund use, construction materials, all made in the USA, which is a good thing. I love to hear that. We all love to hear that. Under this administration, we're living by two simple but very important rules: buy American and hire American. After years of rebuilding other nations, we are finally rebuilding our nation. And as far as infrastructure goes, I have a feeling that the two gentlemen on my left, two great senators, they happen to be Democrats, we're going to be doing a lot of infrastructure together. I really feel that you want it and we want it. We feel very strongly about it. I think we're going to do a lot of infrastructure. This is the beginning, okay? And I know how badly you want it on your side too. So with that, again, I'd like to thank you all, and maybe I'll ask a few of you to say a few words. Would you like to say, John?
Well, yes, thank you very much, Mr. President, for your leadership on this. You called for this in the State of the Union. We have delivered in a big bipartisan way. The House and the Senate working together for infrastructure. This is a significant piece of legislation. This is good for our communities, it's good for the country, it's good for the economy, as well as good for the environment. So thanks for your leadership, Mr. President.
Well,
thank you.
Much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Please. Come on.
Bill, thank you so much. This is not glamorous, but it really is one of the underpinnings of our economy. 40% of the agriculture products in Arkansas are exported. Most of that goes to the inland waterways and then throughout our ports and harbors. So as the President mentioned, again, this is a very bipartisan effort and something that we can all be very, very proud of.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Senator, please.
I'm Tom Carper, and I approve of this message. I don't care if I just add very quickly.
Please.
I'm from a little state, Mr. President, Delaware. And for us and for Delmarva, where Ben and I are from, we have great concerns with the quality of our drinking water. And this legislation goes a long ways toward a partnership, furthering a partnership between the state and the federal government to provide more clean drinking water for people to drink. Also, we have beaches and all up and down the East Coast. We have beaches that were concerned the West Coast. We want to make sure that they continue to be there. They can be part of our economy, part of our tourism industry. And the last thing, we want to make sure that our ports are getting the kind of attention that they deserve, and they have the support from the Army Corps of Engineers. This fellow right here, Mr. President, R.D. James, the Assistant Secretary for the Army, has been a terrific partner, as the General, in helping to craft this legislation. People say to me all the time back home, they say, why don't you guys work together? Why don't you work together to get something done? Well, we have, and it's good stuff. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Senator.
Well, Mr. President, first, let me thank the leadership of our committee. The Environmental Public Works Committee worked in a very bipartisan manner to produce an extremely important bill. For the people of Maryland, this means jobs. It means cleaner water. It's good for the Chesapeake Bay. It's good for our economy, and I'm proud of our accomplishments.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ross. Please, Greg.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for your support of this, and to my colleagues as well at the Energy and Commerce Committee. We did a lot of work bipartisan way to reauthorize the Safe Drinking Water Act. First time in 20 years that's been done. This is the partnership we're all speaking about to clean up our water, so when a mom pours a glass of water for a kid, you know it's going to be safe. You also have disaster relief in here for my Klamath Basin farmers that have been through an enormous drought. We deeply appreciate that. And there's hydropower streamlining for licensing so we can get clean, carbon efficient, carbon neutral hydropower in existing facilities in an expedited way.
Well, and unrelated, I want to thank you, Greg, for all of the work, and I think every one of you, all of the work that you did on Right to Try. That's a very powerful thing that we signed. We're getting, I have received more thank yous for Right to Try. You all know what it is. It's a phenomenal thing, and Greg, you really headed it up. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This certainly goes right along with the executive order that you signed on Friday, helping us to bring more water to California. The new Water Act, which is a part of this legislation, will actually have the upfront financing so we can start building Shasta, Temperance Flat, and sites, some of these big reservoirs that have been on the drawing board for decades now. We can finally get them done under this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job, and we will get that done in California. What's going to happen? We're just about set from a federal level. The state has to get moving, and you'll get them moving. I know you will. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Greg Harper from Mississippi. I just want to thank you for your continued support. This has been an emphasis of what you have been standing for our infrastructure, and the safe drinking water is critical across the country. So this is a great step. We thank you for your support.
Well, thank you very much. And I just noticed a major celebrity is in the room, Pastor Andrew Brunson, standing next to our great Vice President. And Andrew, just come here. Stay in the country for a while, Andrew. Stay here for a little while. Great. We really appreciate everything. You've been through a lot, and we appreciate it, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all you did for us. We're very grateful.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Appreciate it very much. Would you like to say something?
Yes, I would, sir. I'd like to thank you and these fine gentlemen of the Congress for passing a bill that I can now use along with General Semonite to get the good work of this country done. We have to balance water supply, recreation, flood control, navigation, hydropower, along with many other items, sometimes out of the same reservoir. With this legislation, we're more apt to be able to do that than we were before you sign it, sir.
Thank you very much. Great job. And I'm going to see you later because we're talking about something on the border. We're looking at something on the border to give us a hand. And if you guys can't do it, then nobody can, right?
Yes, sir.
Please, would you like to say something?
Sir, I think this is a great example of where the entire federal government has really stepped up here to be able to help take care of the people in the infrastructure. It's everybody working together. It's requirements that come from the bottom up, but it's unbelievable support from the administration and from Congress. And this is where almost 99% everybody bought into this particular bill. And it's what we need to do as the Corps of Engineers is to be able to have that support. So now we go down there and to turn dirt, we're able to put some products in the ground and be able to make America awful lot stronger.
Thank you very much. With that voice, he should be a politician. Say, whoa, that's pretty good. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you. Garrett Grace from South Louisiana.
Yes.
I was here 2 weeks ago when you signed disaster reform legislation into law, and it was major reform for how we prepare for and respond to disasters. This is a really important component because this is how we actually prepare for and make our communities resilient. There's a $100 billion backlog in Corps of Engineer projects. You're a builder, and you know that you don't get stuck in the studying and the do loop. This begins to cut the red tape, cut the bureaucracy, and allowing us, as the General said, to turn dirt, to make sure our ports are competitive, our ecosystems restored, and our communities are safe. So thank you.
You're right, and the Army Corps of Engineers, frankly, I say previous to Trump, the Army Corps of Engineers was a wonderful people, but it was a tremendous holdup in terms of the bureaucracy we had to go through, and I know we've made tremendous strides in that. Sometimes we go through EPA much, much faster than the Army Corps, and the Army Corps never wanted that, but they built up artificial roadblocks that just weren't letting the things get done that we had to have done, and we have gotten rid of many of them. We're getting rid of all of them, and EPA is moving very, very fast, and the Army Corps is starting to move very quickly also, and I very much appreciate that. And we've got some incredible projects to go, so I very much appreciate that.
We're all in, sir.
Good, thank you very much. Mike Pence, would you say something, Mike?
Just a word, Mr. President, of gratitude to members of both political parties for putting a bill on your desk that is going to strengthen the economy of this country and water quality in this country. And I know your passion for infrastructure, your desire that in the next Congress we would focus on rebuilding America's infrastructure, and today is really a down payment on that, and we're very grateful for the bipartisan efforts to bring us to this point.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much. Okay, this is a good one. The vote was 98 or 99?
99 to 1 in the Senate.
99 to 1. I would say that's bipartisan. I won't tell you who the one was, but that is very bipartisan. So, hey, let me give you guys, we don't do this much. Come here. Fantastic. Thank you, folks, very much. We'll do a lot of it. We'll do a lot. I think we're going to do a lot more as time goes by. Okay. This is so thick I won't bother holding it up. You've seen me hold it up before. I think maybe what I should do, unless somebody disagrees, I think I'll give this pen to Pastor Brunson. That's great. Right? Where's Pastor Brunson, please? Pastor, on behalf of all of us and for all you've been through, it's actually a very important pen because it's a very important water bill. And you know where water comes from ultimately, right?
Well, God has blessed us with many natural resources as a country, and we need to be grateful to Him. And as long as we're seeking Him, He will continue to provide for us.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And what we'll do is we'll hand out some, okay? Thank you. Thanks very much. Let me do that. You know, in the old days, the presidents would sign one letter at a time. That's right. And it looked terrible. When you looked at the signature, it really did look terrible. You have it all set? Come on, Greg. Okay, fellas. Give this to Chuck Schumer. Okay, we're very proud of this bill. A lot of work was in when this has been going on for a long time. And I think particularly 99 to 1 is something that's very special, especially in this day and age. I think we're going to have a lot more of it, especially maybe with infrastructure, but other things also. So thank you all for being here. I very much appreciate it.
Mr. President, are you going to meet with Vladimir Putin and Paris in a couple of weeks?
We may. It's being discussed right now. Mike Bolton, as you know, is in Russia, talking about various things, including the whole nuclear situation, where we were not treated well for many years. This should have been done a long time ago. And I think something good could come out of that. And I very well meet with, I think we probably will. It hasn't been set up yet, but it probably will be.
What would be the most important thing to discuss? Could you settle some of the confusion over your comments about what you mean when you say you're a nationalist? What does that mean?
I love our country. And our country has taken second fiddle. If you look at the trade deals, and nobody knows it better than me, I'm knocking out some of the worst deals I've ever seen, where we're giving all of our wealth, all of our money to other countries, and then they don't treat us properly. Where we're protecting other rich countries, very, very rich countries, including, by the way, a country that happens to be very much in the news, Saudi Arabia, immensely wealthy, and we're taking care of their military for a fraction of the cost. Not fair to us. Other countries also, immensely wealthy countries, and we have to get reimbursed for that. We should not be the world's police keeper and not get reimbursed. And by the way, when I bring up to the heads of countries like Japan, Prime Minister Abe, a friend of mine, I bring it up, he looks at me, and he goes, I understand. They understand it. Nobody's ever asked him. I said, have you ever asked? I said, have you ever been asked, like, you have to be, like, help out? Nobody's ever asked. So that's a pretty unfair thing. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you. Wait. I'm going to get back to you.
If I may
It's nice in it.
Could I ask my follow-up question?
No, not now. I'll get back to you, I said.
All right.
I can't take the whole thing. You have a lot of other very fine...
Well, no, I understand, but...
Go ahead, yes.
Mr. Erdogan.
No, I'm behind you, please.
Mr. President, have you heard back, or first of all, can you tell us what you think about what the Turkish president said today? And also, have you heard back...
What President Erdogan said?
Yes, sir. And
well, he was pretty rough on Saudi Arabia, I would say, and I haven't gotten a full recap. As you know, I have people in Turkey and I have people in Saudi Arabia and other places, and they're all coming back as we speak. They're heading back. I'll know, I think, everything in a very short period of time. It's a bad situation, but certainly President Erdogan was not complimentary of what happened. That was a terrible thing that happened, okay? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, do you believe him when he says he believes the Saudi Arabian leadership?
I want to see the facts first. Look, Saudi Arabia's been a really great ally. They've been one of the biggest investors, maybe the biggest investor in our country. They are doing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investments and, you know, so many jobs, thousands and thousands of jobs. And if you look at the other side, Iran, you look at what they've done to people, vicious, horrible. And that's no excuse for what happened with Saudi Arabia, no excuse whatsoever. But you take a look, it's a rough part of the world. It's a nasty place, it's a nasty part of the world. But if what happened, happened, and if the facts check out, it's something that's very bad. At the same time, they have been a very good ally of ours. They've been helping us a lot with respect to Israel. They've been funding a lot of things. I will tell you that Russia and China would love to have that military order. I mean, I can say it to my Democrat friends too. I mean, they would love, this is $110 billion worth of military. And Russia would pick that up very quickly, and China would pick it up very quickly, and France would pick it up very quickly. France makes a lot of military equipment. It's a very competitive market. I did a great job when I sold them. That's why I went to Saudi Arabia first. I went to Saudi Arabia on the basis that they would buy hundreds of billions, many billions of dollars worth of things. And the ultimate number is around $450 billion, 110 for military, 450 billion. I think that's over 1 million jobs, 1 million to over 1 million jobs. So we do that, we're just hurting ourselves. We're just hurting ourselves. And I know that from a certain standpoint, you could also say, well, it doesn't matter, because it is a terrible thing. But we would be really hurting ourselves. We'd be hurting our company.
All right, folks, welcome. Let me just pause this real quick. All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times. I'm the host of the stream. Give me a second. I have... All right, so I got to make sure that there's absolutely, positively no type of music in the background. Yesterday, we have a live stream. I don't know if you guys can remember. Earlier yesterday, we had a live stream regarding a speech with the president, and YouTube blocked it worldwide, saying that there was a little snippet, 4 seconds, of some type of copyrighted music somewhere, and boom, they shut it down. They blocked it worldwide. So I have to be very, very extremely careful that there is no type of music in the background at all, unless we own it or unless it's copyright free. So we have to be very careful. Anyways, let's move on. We have footage from inside the White House where the president is going to be delivering his speech. So make sure you guys please share the live stream on social media. The speech should start soon. And he's going to be talking about Beirut and the barrack attack bombings that happened. This is the 35th anniversary. So give me a second as I put it up on your screen. Give me a second here. Trying to make sure that everything is correct and everything is good. So give me a second. All right, folks. So here we go. This is live footage. I have to change the lower third. Oh boy. All right. So here we go. All right. So the president is set to come out soon and deliver his speech. So please share the live stream on social media. And don't forget to smack the thumbs up button. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you guys on the chat.
First time here. First time here. Let's go. First time. Go. Matatakpan siya. Takpan mo siya. Thank you, sir. No problem.
All right, folks, so the president should be coming out in just a few minutes. Please share the live stream on social media. If you can share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on 4chan, 8chan, 16chan, 35chan. I don't care where you guys put it. But if you guys can help us in sharing this live stream, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Also, don't forget to click that thumbs up button below the video. All of those thumbs up button, when you guys click it, all of those thumbs up, those tell YouTube, you know what, we like this coverage, we like President Trump, we want to watch more of his speeches, and they have no choice, absolutely no choice, but to recommend this to more Americans, to more patriots all over the United States and all over the world. That way we show the raw, uncut information that the president wants to give the American people. And YouTube has no choice but to recommend it. So if you want to red pill America and red pill the world, then please share this live stream. Give this video a thumbs up, this live stream a thumbs up, and also be, go on the chat and have fun. Be active on the chat. That way YouTube has no choice but to recommend this to more patriots all around the country. So thank you so much in advance. The president should be coming out in just a few minutes, like I said, and deliver his speech. Thank you so much.
My sermon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, accompanied by the Secretary of Defense.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you very much. A lot of spirit in this room. A lot of spirit, for good reason. We're gathered together on this solemn occasion to fulfill our most reverent and sacred duty. 35 years ago, 241 American service members were murdered in the terrorist attack our Marine barracks in Beirut, Lebanon. It was a very sad period of time. These are great, great people. Today we honor our fallen heroes and pledge that their blessed memory will never die, but live instead in the hearts of our grateful nation forever. We are joined by, and for today's observers, and I'd like to introduce some of the outstanding people in our government and some that are outside of our government, starting off with Secretary of State Pompeo. Mike, where's Mike? Stand up, Mike. Thank you, great job. And he's been doing a lot of traveling. A very well-traveled man, aren't you, Mike, huh? Secretary of Defense Mattis. Secretary of the Navy Richard Spencer. Okay. Thank you. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joseph Dunford. Hi, Joseph. Army Chief of Staff, General Mark Milley. Mark, thank you. Thank you, Mark. Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Robert Neller. Robert. Commandant of the Coast Guard, Admiral Carl Schultz. And Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Ronald Green. Ronald. As well as my Chief of Staff and a beloved Marine. He loves the Marines, John Kelly. John. And much more important, a great wife and a great mother. Karen, please stand up. Karen. Great woman. Great man, great woman. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And thanks to the French ambassador to the United States, Gerard Aurot, for being here. Gerard, where are you, Gerard? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just spoke to your president. I just spoke to President Macron, and he's doing well. He sends his regards. I also want to recognize two very special retired Marines who led with extraordinary valor in the wake of the Beirut terrorist attack, Colonel Tim Garrity and General Al Gray. See that? They all love you. We're also truly thankful to have with us the veterans of Beirut, who really, I mean, this is an incredible group. I'm going to ask you to stand. You courageously survived that terrible October day, and you have made it your first duty to remember. Please stand. Please stand. Such incredible spirit. I see hugging and kissing. I think it's fantastic. That's what love is, right? That's real love. That's the kind of love we like. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Great, great people. Most importantly, we're joined by the families of those who made the ultimate sacrifice for us. Please stand, please. Wow. Wow, that's great. That's really great. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's great. Incredible. To every Gold Star family, today we pay tribute to the heroes you knew and loved. We grieve and mourn by your side, and we honor the immortal sacrifice of 241 heroes who gave their lives for our freedom. Thank you for being here very much. In 1983, roughly 1,800 Marines were in Beirut to keep the peace in a nation torn apart by civil war. Terrorists had bombed the U.S. Embassy earlier that year, killing 63 people, including 17 Americans. For the 300 Marines stationed at the Beirut airport, the morning of October 23rd arrived like any other. The Marines on guard stood there and at their posts. Others slept peacefully in their bunks until suddenly, and without warning, a truck driven by a terrorist crashed through the fences and barricades and into the lobby of the Marine barracks. At 6:22 a.m., the terrorist detonated the equivalent of 1,200 pounds, commonly known as 12,000 pounds. That's a lot, and it's terrible, of explosives, killing 3 American soldiers, 18 American sailors, and 220 United States Marines. That was a horrible moment. Minutes later, another truck bomb took the lives of 58 French paratroopers. It was the single deadliest day for the Marines since Iwo Jima. The attack was carried out by Hezbollah, which Iran was instrumental in founding a year earlier to advance its radical agenda and remain its main patron today. And we are doing a big number on Iran today, in case you haven't noticed. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what, they're not the same country they were when I took office. Amen. I will tell you that. They're rioting in their streets, their money's collapsed, their lives are a lot different, and they're not looking so much for the Mediterranean. And when I took office, they were looking for the Mediterranean. They were going to take over everything. Now they want to survive. Whole different deal, folks. It's a whole different deal. No terrorist group other than Al-Qaeda has more American blood on its hands. The service members who died that day include brave young Marines just out of high school, accomplished officers in the middle of their military careers, and enlisted men who had served in theaters all over the world. But they formed one united military family, defending their nation, serving their fellow Americans, and wearing their uniform with dignity and pride, such incredible pride. Each of these heroes died as they lived, as noble warriors. They were warriors whose hearts were filled with courage and whose souls were rich with love. The United States Marines are often the first to deploy, the first into danger, and the first to fight. And on that morning, 35 years ago, they were among the very first to give their lives in the battle against radical Islamic terrorism, the battle that we are winning and we will win. And I have to point out, and I can do this for General Kelly, General Mattis, and everybody here, that we are doing very well in our fight against ISIS. They are virtually knocked out entirely in Syria. Another short period of time, they'll be gone. And also in Iraq and in lots of other places. We have stepped up the fight to a level that even General Mattis was very happy to get that order. Is that right, General? We've done a very strong number. So. Radical Islamic terror. As Commander-in-Chief, I will always ensure that our service members have the tools, resources, equipment, support, and trust they need to protect this nation and to defeat America's enemies with overwhelming force. No enemy on earth can match the strength of our military or the might of our Marines. We will use every instrument of our national power to confront the sinister forces of terrorism. That is one reason why last year I withdrew the United States from the Iran nuclear disaster. On November 5th, all U.S. sanctions against Iran lifted by the nuclear deal will be back in full force. Every sanction that we had on there originally, which would have, if they would have just left it a little bit longer, would have been so much easier than what we've been through over the last number of years. All they had to do is leave it the way it was. It was eating them away. But we've started it all over again, and it'll be just as good. We've wasted time and lives, unfortunately. And they will be followed up with even more sanctions to address the full range of Iran's malign conduct. We will not allow the world's leading sponsor of terror to develop the world's deadliest weapons. Will not happen. Over the past year, we have levied the highest number of sanctions ever imposed on Hezbollah in a single year, by far. Just a few moments ago, I signed legislation imposing even more hard-hitting sanctions on Hezbollah to further starve them of their funds, and they are starving of funds. We will target, disrupt, and dismantle their operational and financing networks, of which they had plenty. They don't have plenty now. And we will never forget what they did to our great Marines in Beirut. We will never forget. In the days after the attack, very brave General Al Gray traveled to more than 150 funerals of his beloved Marines who perished in the Beirut bombing. On one of those trips, he arrived at Maxwell Gunter Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama. There he joined the hour-long funeral procession to transport a fallen Marine to his final resting place in a small town near Auburn, Alabama. On that long drive, General Gray witnessed a sight that would stay with him forever. Throughout the entire journey, along both sides of the highway, for miles and miles of country road, as far as the eye could see, everyday citizens who came by the thousands were lined up to pay their highest respects. They were waving flags, holding their hands also over their hearts, and standing in silent salute to our great fallen Marine heroes. This outpouring of love and devotion was but a small measure of the eternal gratitude of our nation. In all of our history, no figure has ever lived with more grace and courage than the men and women who serve our country in uniform. They are God's blessing to us all. They are God's blessing. They are incredible people. Each of the Gold Star families here today carries on the remarkable legacy of their loved ones. You care for your families, you serve your communities, you support one another, you persevere, and you overcome, and I know you very well. You win. You just know nothing but winning. I know the people, some of the people in this room, they just know how to win. And you keep the memory of our heroes alive. So this evening, we pay tribute to your service, we honor your sacrifice, and we say on behalf of all Americans, thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for your devotion. Thank you for your love that is greater than life itself. And thank you for remembering us all what it means to live like our heroes, forever brave, forever strong, and always, always, always faithful. Thank you once again, and God bless you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, Mr. President, thank you, our elected Commander-in-Chief, a man who loves his military, and it's so obvious here tonight, and you can see they love you back, Mr. President. And Mr. President, thanks for highlighting our great ally France here tonight. They've stood with us like stalwarts through all these years, and Mr. Ambassador, great to have you here as well. It is a somber occasion, we all know that. I was driving down a road in Newport, Rhode Island on Navy duty. That's pretty nice duty, General. Thanks for sending me there. And I heard the bombing, the news of the bombing. I had little idea that I would shortly be the casualty notification officer for near over a half a dozen of the Rhode Island lads that were lost in that bombing. And I would just say to the Gold Star parents, the Gold Star families, the Gold Star brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, those who lived on after their loved ones were taken away from them far too soon, we want you to know that we will always hold in our hearts your family's sacrifice. We do not forget in the United States government, we do not forget in the U.S. military, and I guarantee our Commander-in-Chief does not forget. It was 35 years ago. It was a deadly day for us, and they crashed 2 bomb-laden trucks, one into our barracks, one into the French paratrooper barracks, and the cost was enormous in paratroopers, Marines, sailors, and soldiers. And looking back on that day, I think we know that the ultimate test of a person's character is their willingness to sacrifice for future generations whose thanks they will never hear. And so today, it's our responsibility to acknowledge the irredeemable debt of gratitude that we owe to those who we lost in Beirut and to their families here today. In the President's words, you captured the spirit of them very, very well, Mr. President. So we gather to remember them all. We remember those who in the immediate aftermath of the blast, some of whom are here today, combed through the wreckage with their bare hands to save the wounded, and from their fellow U.S. brothers in arms, the Italian soldiers, the Lebanese soldiers who came to our aid, the civilians there, the French personnel who, despite the casualties they had just sustained, came to the place that had been harder hit and pitched in. We remember the wounded who returned from Beirut, Mr. President, never wavering in their commitment to our cause of liberty. Then the Commandant of the Marine Corps of those days was a General P.X. Kelly, and he went to the hospital to see the ones who had survived, and he encountered a young Marine Corporal, Lance Corporal, Jeffrey Nashton, lying in the hospital bed. He was in critical condition. He was nearly blind. He was unable to talk. And upon learning it was his commandant who'd walked in the room, Lance Corporal reached up to touch the 4 stars on his collar to confirm that it was really him. He confirmed it. He asked for a piece of paper. He waved for a writing, and he wrote on that piece of paper, Semper Fi. And Mr. President, General Kelly and I knew personally some of the Marines there that day, but we know all of those Marines' character, the character that was made clear in those 2 simple words that the Lance Corporal wrote down. And I saw the same character when I had to go with the most devastating news a family can hear in their living room as the casualty officer for more than a half dozen of those boys, and to those families of those who did not return home, whose memories we honor. Your sons have lived on in our hearts and our minds, and we will not forget them. The tracks that they set will not be eroded by wind or rain, and to them we say, sleep, soldiers, still in honored rest, your truth and valor wearing. The bravest are the tenderest, the loving are the daring. So thank you, Mr. President, for leading this tribute here today. And I'd like to invite to the podium Father George Puparelli. Come on up, Father. The chaplain of those Marines, Mr. President, who was there that day the building came down. Padre?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. That's great. Thank you. Beautiful. Yes, sir.
Let us pray. Dear Lord our God, you know everything. You read the minds and hearts of all of us here this evening. And you know the minds and hearts of those who are in your arms, those young, vibrant faces who went over to a distant land to try to promote peace and harmony to peoples riddled with strife and violence, destruction. But Lord, you know all things. Take those young heroes of ours, put them in a very special place in your heavenly kingdom, paradise where light, warmth, and joy reside forevermore. Lord, you said once, blessed are the peacemakers, for they are children of God, and so are our boys. Hold them dearly, Lord, and watch over them and bless them in a very special way in your kingdom. But Lord, also bless this evening our president. Shine upon him wisdom and courage and strength. Yes. And bless our Secretary of Defense and Secretary of State. Lord, watch over our armed forces, for all those flags that stand vividly behind me. Lord, be with them and protect them wherever they may be sent out by our country with the clear mind and heart of peace and justice and righteousness for everyone, those within this country and those throughout the world. Lord, bless those. General Gray, Colonel Tim Garrity, General P.X. Kelly, and Lieutenant Colonel Larry Gerlach. Lord, bless them, because we would follow them today if this was the day to go. Lord, watch over our armed forces. Watch over all of those who mean so much to us. Watch over all these who have made this night possible. For all the efforts and sacrifices that went into this evening, thank you, and bless them in a very special way. But also bless each and every one of the relatives and friends and survivors of the Beirut bombing. Lord, their hearts are always, lest we ever forget. We are made with human minds, Lord. We shall never forget this. But my prayer here this evening is for our young people. Lord, they are our new country, our new generation. And by their efforts and by their looking upon our heroes this evening, by their efforts, they can make this country great and the world a better place to live in. Amen. Amen.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll follow you out now. Get out. He said it. I didn't say it. He said it. I just want to thank you. Just outstanding people, outstanding families. We love you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
right, folks, thank you so much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. The president delivering his speech at the 35th anniversary of the attack of the Beirut barracks, folks. As you guys can see, everybody was there. Everybody was pumped. I love these type of speeches because, you know, they're always such high energy. The military, the folks, our heroes, our veterans, they're always so pumped. And I just love the energy that they bring in. And this is one of those speeches, like the ones that we do when he's delivering the Congressional Medal of Honor, or maybe he's talking at a place where there's a lot of military veterans and you know, active military guys and gals. They're always such high energy, and it just brings such good positive energy. So I love these speeches. But anyways, thank you so much for choosing us as your stream of choice. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. We welcome you. Also click the notification bell. That way you get a heads up when we go live. I'm sorry, I turned it off. There's going to be a Trump rally tomorrow, so make sure you do not miss it live here at Golden State Times. I'll give you guys the updated schedule for the Trump rallies in just a second. All right, folks, so this is the updated rally schedule for the next few days. Tomorrow, Friday, October the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, we're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then after that, we are going to be in Murfreesboro, Illinois on Saturday, October the 22nd, 2018 at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, again from Illinois. And then the other rally is going to happen on Halloween. So it's Wednesday, October the 31st, 2018 from Fort Myers, Florida at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So make sure you guys join us for those rallies. If you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe. We welcome you to the family, and also click the notification bell. If you've been with us for a while, make sure you're still subscribed. I heard from a lot of different YouTubers that YouTube has been unsubscribing folks. So make sure that you guys check the subscribe button below the video, and you make sure that it's still gray instead of red. If it's red, it means that you're unsubscribed from the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and the notification bell is on. That way you can get notified when we go live for these Trump rallies, for any events from the White House, press briefings, State Department press briefings from the Pentagon. All that stuff is always streamed live here at Golden State Times. Thank you so much, folks. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the rally in Charlotte, North Carolina at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, live here at Golden State Times. Thank you so much to the moderators for coming out, keeping the chat clean and enjoyable for everyone. I'll see you guys soon, folks. Peace.